Captain speaking. We've been cleared for takeoff and we'll be departing shortly.
Go ahead and give that man a round of applause.
That boy's got talent.
Welcome back. Shaney Haycraft, Craft and Trade E&T. Back up in this bitch. And we're going to switch it up a little bit and kind of go over OBS Studio pretty basically. Not an expert on it. I'm only going to be showing you how I use it and what I use it for and what I do know about it. And I won't stray too much outside of that. So, as you can see, I've got OBS pulled up and you're seeing my actual desktop. I have two screens, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to have to show you like this. So you're going to have this tunneling in here, but don't really pay attention to much of this. What you're going to want to be paying attention to is not in this window. It's over here and over here. So the way I have this profile set up is that I have a system audio audio track. I have my microphone audio input, and then I have loopback 5 and 6. And I will explain what's going on here. But first, before we do that, let's kind of break down what we're looking at. We have all of our sources, whether that's audio or video. We have all of our sources that we have set up. Now, right now I have my camcorder and my Keo Razor webcam disabled because I won't be using those here. If I were, I would unmute them here. But these are your sources. This is your audio mixer. And then this is your global controls. So what we're going to do first is go over to global settings and make sure that your global settings are set up correctly here. You got general and everything, but what we're really looking at is output, bit rate, your encoding quality, where you're going to be recording to, and really in that section, that's all I'm worried about. Audio, you can change this to whatever, sample rate, all that good stuff. Where you're going to be pulling certain things from. So with that being said, and then video, it's very important too. It's locked here because the output of my main monitor is 4K, so it's really no changing that here. But on other sources, there are ways to change it. And this is very important that you know what your output, your global output resolution is here, and that over here with your sources that, like I said, I can't change this one, but let me show you, like I could change this if this were plugged in, I could make changes here for it. Just give me a moment while it pulls it up. Hopefully. Oh, it doesn't want to do it, does it? Come on, baby. Quit messing with my heart. It may not let me open up the properties since it's not plugged in. Yeah, okay, here you go. So you can choose what any channel. What am I pulling from? In this case, it would be a USB audio device. And then here, if that were plugged in, I could make my resolution changes here to match the global resolution so that whenever I pull that into a video editor, I don't have any kind of resolution or aspect ratio issues on the back end during the editing phase. So I make sure that I've got all of my video, audio, paths, and resolutions and all that good stuff set up before I start, so that I make sure I've got everything like I want it whenever I start the video editing process. So that's how you change things over here. System audio is a little bit different, but you can choose, like, where's my system audio pulling audio from? The speakers out of my interface. I could choose whatever I want, but I'm going to choose that for system audio because I want everything that comes out of the speakers to be recorded. Now, specifically for Pro Tools, it will still come out of your speakers, but for whatever reason, it will not play it out of the system audio, and I will show you. Just give me a moment here.
South, the underdog champion of the world, back again. Walk with me, come.
Now what I'm showing you is that even though you heard it playing through the speakers, It wasn't coming out on system audio here, right? Now, to go a step further, if I pull up YouTube off screen and I play just a quick sample. As you can see, the system audio comes out here from YouTube because it's a system sound.
Sound.
As you can see, the Pro Tools audio, even though it's coming out of the speakers, does not route out to capture. That's why it's necessary in my particular situation to use a loop back audio track, and that is set to pull from a software input or output, which is ADAT 5 and 6. Now, I happen to have a RME Fireface, so I have the ability to use a loopback function in the software. Right over here, you see ADAT 5 and 6 and the loopback function. I've got the fader set all the way up to full capability, and what that is it's a phantom software channel that just sends the audio out to another place to be pulled in. But you do have to have the loopback function set, because if I pull that loopback function, I'm pretty sure it will not capture it. As you can see, it did not capture it. Once we engage the loopback and play again,
Sound.
I've got the house cleaning lady downstairs, and I believe she's vacuuming, so I had to get the monitor off. Okay, so where were we? Yes, the loopback function. Once we engage the loopback function here, you will have
sound.
Audio coming out of loopback 5 and 6. What that does is it allows you to capture the microphone, system audio, and then Pro Tools audio through your loopback function simultaneously while capturing the screen. Now, I will show you something here. And each one of these audio sources has a fader where you can choose how much of that signal that you want coming in from each one. You know, because the Pro Tools and the system audio probably be a little bit stronger than the microphone by nature. So you can pull that down and try to kind of get a balance of the audio before you start recording, because it's all going to be mashed into one audio file whenever you get to the video editing stage, once this whole file is rendered as a whole. So you want to do a little bit of balancing here. Another thing is, since the Neumann, which is the microphone, is coming out, it's going into the system audio, but you don't hear any echoing and phasing, and that's because I have it set to, let's see here. Okay, so here's how we have that set up. I have the Neumann to monitor and output. I have the system audio set to monitor off. If I put it monitor and output, now you see I have doubling on the vocal, or on the whatever's coming into that. So we're going to set that back down to monitor off, so I can't hear the doubling of the microphone coming in. It's not actually there, but it would sound like it was whenever I had the session going, which can be distracting. So we have monitor off on the system audio, but the output's still on. We have monitor and output out of the Neumann mic. We have the system audio right here, we already had system audio. We have the loop back monitor off, because I don't want the doubling there as well. It still is outputting. It's just I can't hear it during the session, but it's still being captured by OBS. The reason I have it set up that way is so that, like I said, on this particular session, I want to be able to hear any system audio like YouTube or something if I want to pull it up in this session, which is right here. I want to be able to hear my microphone and that will be coming out of here and also coming to the system audio. To avoid the doubling of that, I have monitor off on the system audio, but still output. Now, one thing that you can do, and this is what I do. So I've got everything set up for my audio. Like everything that I want as far as audio goes is right here. Now I do have the camcorder and the Keo muted because I'm not using them right now. But let's say I wanted to compile the desktop capture shots and I wanted some actual webcam video shots to compile together. Now, how would you do that? Well, you can go ahead and you can right click on OBS and open up another instance of it, and it will ask you if you want to do it for certain. It will say launch anyway. Now, on that one, as you can see, it's set up the same way, but now I'm getting doubling, right? So I don't want the display capture. And let's see here. I don't want the Neumann either. So all I want is just the system audio. Okay. So I would go ahead and engage the Keo here. It's not plugged in, but normally it would be plugged in, and I could have a whole different version of OBS. Let me get that out of the way. I could have this going for the display capture, and I could have this set up, get over there, for the cam or the webcam shots. And then, start recording at the same time that I start recording over here. Make sure they're set up to the same place. And then I would pull both those files into Adobe Premiere where I would begin to compile them and cut them and edit the audio and all that good stuff. You can have, I think, as many different, if you had 2 webcams, you could have a desktop capture. You could have one webcam capturing here and then another version of OBS open again. And that one could be set to a different capture device. And then you can compile all those scenes in your video editor later on. So let's see, what have I touched on here? I mean, you got your sources over here. You've got all of your audio mixers and your faders and the different sections here. You have where you're actually pulling from on the properties. And then you have like your balancing and how you're routing out under the advanced. And another thing to touch on here is that I believe in the video output setting right here, excuse me, give me just a moment. Let me find it because this is important. If I can remember where it was. Bear with me here. And it might not be here anymore with an update or something, but I'm going to poke around in it and make sure. Is it not there? Is it here? Okay, maybe it's not there. But there are some codecs that there's like a certain codec profile over here in the settings that a lot of your video editors don't like, and you'll have to use something like Handbrake to re-encode before video editors will recognize it. But at this point, I really can't figure. Well, let's just see here. Is it here? No, it's not there either. Maybe it's because I'm stuck with resolutions here and all that. But anyway, like I said, I tried to stick to the basic functions that I use, and I'm no expert on OBS, but I do know enough about it to use to capture multiple sources, and getting everything lined out here, and your outputs and your resolutions and your codecs and all that. And I hope that it cleared up things and at least got your feet wet to where you feel comfortable with doing that yourself, and maybe setting up and doing your own tutorials and things like that. But I appreciate y'all spending a little bit of time with me. Hope it helped you out a little bit. Peace and chicken grease.